Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I'm Ken, and today guys, I just wanted to have a little conversation about Scream Factory and just some of my thoughts and opinions on Scream Factory and what they're doing right now with their kind of constant like 4K upgrades and the stuff that they're announcing month to month, and also speculate. I want to do a little speculation on, I think I did this last year, like after they did the August announcements. I was like, if Scream Factory released this in August, what are they going to do in September and October? So, I think that Scream Factory really ups their game when you get to September and October. Those are their big months, they're big, Halloween is right around the corner. They're big months for horror. So I think they really up their game. So I want to kind of speculate on what they could possibly be announcing for these months, but also, talk about some stuff I just really want them to do. So just kind of an off-the-cuff conversation, guys, because I've been getting it, in the comment section, people like with the People Under the Stairs review that I did. People talking about just being tired of all these 4K upgrades and they just bought the Blu-ray. And I get it. I get it completely because I almost did not get this because I literally just bought the Blu-ray. But after I watched it and I reviewed it, I was like, I'm so glad that I got this because this looks so much better than the Blu-ray itself. So I want to talk about that a little bit and just why Scream Factory gets so much heat compared to, I feel like, other boutique labels and just studios in general. Like everybody right now is doing 4K re-releases. Like studios are doing them, boutique labels are doing them. Vinegar Syndrome pretty much is the only one that's not. Like everything they put out is on 4K for the first time. They'd never done it before, period. So Vinegar Syndrome is really kind of and then of course some other boutique labels as well, but Vinegar Syndrome feels like the only one that's not, that's like a big label that's not the culprit with this. Also, Kino Lorber's putting some new stuff out on 4K for the first time and then releasing Blu-rays alongside it. So I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit and just give my insight and my opinion. And like I said, just an off-the-cuff conversation here today. But before we get into it, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk physical media here. We talk about Blu-rays. We talk about 4Ks. We talk about different boutique labels, studios. We just talk about all things physical media, guys. I'm not, beholden to any topic or different or type of movie, genre of film, label. I talk about everything here. At least I try to. So hit that subscribe button if you're interested in that. And also hit the like button and then comment down below, guys. What's your thoughts on this? I know people have got thoughts. Every time I do, because I did the Scream Factory announcements as well, talking about Nightbreed, and people were like, I'm not upgrading. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to keep doing this upgrade stuff. So people seem to always have an opinion when it comes to Scream Factory. So definitely leave yours in the comment section below. And also let me know, like, what are some titles that you want Scream Factory to come out with, whether they're upgrades from their current selection in their catalog, or if it's brand new titles that they've never done before, that nobody's ever done, that hasn't gotten good scans at all. Let me know what some of those titles are that you want them to do in the comments section below. So let's go ahead and break right into it, guys. So I wanted to talk about, again, the whole 4K re-release thing. Everybody seems to get up in arms about this, and I want to talk about why I think that is. So the thing with Scream Factory, and also it's, like I said, Arrow Video is going through it right now. Criterion is also doing it. They're upgrading a lot of stuff as well. I think the big difference between Criterion and Arrow Video and Scream Factory is that Criterion and Arrow, yes, they're doing upgrades. Like Waterworld is coming out on 4K this month. Mallrats is coming out on 4K this month. They've already done editions of those. Last Starfighter just came out on 4K. So they're doing that kind of stuff, but they're also doing new stuff as well, like that Enter the Video Store set that's getting ready to come out. Like, I'm super excited about that. They're also doing tons of like Kung Fu titles. They're doing new stuff as well on Blu-ray, maybe not 4K, but on Blu-ray. And then overseas, they're doing interesting stuff like UK only exclusives like David Cronenberg's Naked Lunch, and then they're also doing Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which is super exciting announcement for me. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So they're doing some interesting new 4Ks, but they're just not over here like their UK exclusives. But you can get those on Diabolic and Orbit and those kind of places for sure. So, and then Criterion, like they usually announce like one 4K a month. And maybe it's an upgrade, or maybe it's something completely new, like Thelma and Louise. That was a completely new release for them. That's never been in the Criterion collection before. And then they usually announce like some other new stuff to go along with it, like some new Blu-rays that have never before been out from the Criterion collection with new 4K scans. So they always seem to add, like, yes, 4K re-releases, but also new titles as well. And Scream Factory seems to be in this model of they're just going full on into 4K. Like every single month, it's like 4 new titles on 4K that they've already done before. Every now and then, though, you'll get something different. Like we just got the announcement for the Chucky movies on 4K. And I know some people aren't excited about those, but they've never done Bride of Chucky. They've never done Seed of Chucky. They've never done Curse of Chucky or Cult of Chucky. Those are all brand new to the Scream Factory catalog. So that's some new titles that they've done. But also, you know, The Burning's coming out, and Dawn of the Dead came out. It feels like, you know, People Under the Stairs came out, I believe, this month. We've got Motel Hell is coming out on 4K. We got Creepshow coming out on 4K. All of these have been Scream Factory titles before, Bubba Hotep. So, and they're also doing the same thing with the Shout Select line, like Hackers is coming out on 4K. And it just feels like every month they're just full on into 4K and they're not doing anything else like new and interesting, I guess. Like, yes, Little Nicky I'm excited about, but it's just a Blu-ray. Like, if they did like a collector's edition with a slipcover and cool artwork and stuff, I would get excited about that. I would definitely be more excited for that. Like, it's $27.99. That would be cool if they did a slipcover and actually added some special features into it other than, here it is. It's never before been on Blu-ray. It's $27.99 though. And also the same with Dr. Giggles. They did that on Blu-ray, but not a collector's edition or anything, just a regular Blu-ray. I think people would be more accepting to all of these constant 4K releases if they release like new Blu-rays alongside it with new special features like Arrow Video's doing, like Criterion's doing. I think people would be a little bit more appreciative of what Scream Factory is doing, because at the end of the day, guys, the 4K restorations that Scream Factory has done, at least in the past year, I would say even longer than that, pretty much since they've started doing them, most of them look really great. Like, Scream Factory is doing a great job with these 4K restorations. People Under the Stairs really looked phenomenal. Like, this was next level to me. Like, that Blu-ray came out in 2015, so that was 8 years ago. That's a pretty sizable gap between releases. I think that this release was perfectly acceptable. It kind of upset me a little bit personally because I had just bought the Blu-ray. But if you bought the Blu-ray back in 2015, you were probably ready for an upgrade. And I think that this 4K looks so much better than that Blu-ray does, because I popped in that Blu-ray and watched it. And this one also has a 4K scan on the Blu-ray. So this is the definitive version of People Under the Stairs. I think the main reason why people get upset with the boutique labels doing the re-releases versus the studios is because it doesn't feel that long ago when these boutique labels did these Blu-ray releases with the 4K scans, and it was like 4K was around when you did these releases, like Weird Science. 4K was around when you did Weird Science with the 4K scan. Why didn't you do it on 4K then? Well, it's because they weren't doing 4K. They didn't know if that was a format they wanted to jump into yet. So I just think it's an unfortunate situation where 4K was around when these were, coming out. So it really wasn't that long ago that they're doing these 4K restorations. Like, there's only like a 2-year gap between some of these. Like The Craft, I think came out like maybe 2019, 2020, and that 4K came out 2022. Candyman wasn't too much of a gap between the Blu-ray and the 4K. So I just think it's like The Last Starfighter. I think that came out in like 2019 and we just got the 4K for that, but that's still like 4 years. But the time difference isn't as substantial as the studios is. Like, some of the studio Blu-rays like came out in 2010, 2011, and now they're being upgraded in 4K like over 10 years later. So it just feels like there's more of a difference there, but it's really the same thing, guys. Like, if you have the People Under the Stairs on Blu-ray, like, why is it not the same as like The Exorcist being on Blu-ray? Everybody wants The Exorcist on 4K. Why do you not want People Under the Stairs on 4K? Why do you not want, Mallrats on 4K? Why is there a difference between the boutique labels announcing 4Ks versus the studios? Because it's really the same thing. Do you not, at the end of the day, want that increase in quality? And I do think it just comes down to just the mentality of it and the fact that it wasn't that long ago that they did the Blu-ray, and they're just kind of mad that they didn't do it to begin with. So I think that there's a lot that goes into it, and some people are just resistant to 4K. They say Blu-ray is good enough, and I understand that. Like, if you think that Blu-ray is good enough, to be honest, sometimes it is. Like The Last Starfighter, to me, like, that Blu-ray looks fantastic. So that upgrade for the 4K, yeah, it looks a little bit better. And I think the HDR does more for the colors and stuff, but it really is kind of similar. I just don't understand why, because sometimes it feels like to me that the same people that are getting excited for The Exorcist coming out on 4K, or Enter the Dragon coming out on 4K, or Ferris Bueller's Day Off coming out on 4K, are the same people that are complaining about Scream Factory and Arrow Video doing 4Ks of their re-releases. And I think it does, sometimes it comes down to the aesthetic of it, because I did buy Waterworld on Blu-ray back in 2018 when it came out in the big box set release. And I'm getting Waterworld now on 4K in the same big box set release. Same thing with American Werewolf in London. So it does come down to the aesthetic. Like I think that if it had new packaging, as stupid as that sounds, I think that people would be more accepting of it. And you know, at least with Scream Factory, they do something different with the cover art there. Like Criterion and Arrow Video don't do anything different at all. They just re-release it with the 4K sticker on the front. You just have to know it's 4K and it's the exact same case. So at least Scream Factory it does that. But I do think it's kind of a mentality that I understand in certain aspects, but in other aspects, I don't understand. Like Nightbreed just got announced for 4K. I think that release came out in like 2016, 2017. If you're not excited for Nightbreed on 4K and you're a fan of that movie, then why would you be wanting Nightmare on Elm Street to come out on 4K? You know, that has a Blu-ray that looks pretty good. Why would you be wanting that movie on 4K? So it just doesn't feel like there's a difference. Like if you like Nightbreed, why wouldn't you want that upgraded to 4K? And Scream Factory does great work on 4K. But there you go, guys. That's my little rant, little mini rants, if you want to even call it a rant, and thoughts on that whole thing. Yes, it would be great. I just think we're a little unfair to Scream Factory sometimes. I feel like if they would put out a few new releases here and there, if they did some collector's editions on their Blu-ray, I feel like that would smooth things over. There's definitely things that Scream Factory, Shout Factory could do to make it better, but I feel like people overlook some of the things that they are doing. Like The Haunting of Julia was a really good 4K release that came out this year that was new to Scream Factory. They are putting the Chuckies out that are new to Scream Factory. So yes, we would like to see more stuff that's new to Scream Factory. I think if they could work on that a little bit, bringing some new titles in at least every other month, I think that fans would be a little bit more accepting. But I just feel like it's a double standard, guys. We're excited for new studio stuff. Why aren't we excited for new boutique stuff? And sometimes it may come down to the price, because it's a lot more expensive with the boutique stuff as well. Let's go ahead and get into some speculation though on what I think is going to come out in September, October, November, December for the rest of the year. We only got 4 more months worth of announcements from Scream Factory for the rest of the year. And then we go into 2024 and who knows what we're going to get there. So I want to go ahead and get this elephant out of the room. Look, we all want a Nightmare on Elm Street box set. We all want an upgrade for this. Do I think it's going to happen this year from Scream Factory? Absolutely not. I don't see this happening this year at all. Now, I could be surprised and maybe it does happen this year, but to me, there's about a 5% chance that we get a Nightmare on Elm Street Blu-ray or 4K box set from Scream Factory this year. Now, will it happen? Like, in my opinion, I said this like a year and a half ago already. Like, I said this a long time ago. They're waiting for 2024. That's the 40th anniversary of A Nightmare on Elm Street. But I don't think I'm of the opinion that I don't think that Scream Factory is going to do A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that ship has sailed. They're not doing it. I think that Warner Brothers is going to do a big 4K box set of at least the 7 movies with Robert Englund as Freddy. I don't know if they'll do the remake. They may do the remake. But I think that they'll do Nightmare on Elm Street through New Nightmare, a box set, a complete box set, 4K box set. And I think that as disappointing as it might be, I think it's going to be kind of like the Rocky set that came out, only it's not going to have 4 movies, it's going to have 7 movies, and it's going to be a little flip thing that comes out. I think that's what they're going to do. It would be nice if they did a Superman style box set, at least like with individual 4K cases, but you know, I'm just not that optimistic. And it would be awesome if they did a big like Steelbook box set as well, but I'm just not, I don't know, guys. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to go Rocky. I think that they thought that Superman was going to sell a little bit better because comic book movies are big, and Nightmare on Elm Street isn't as big of a franchise anymore. So I think they're going to go Rocky. I think they're going to do at least individual discs of all the movies on 4K, but it's going to be in a little flip thing, and it's going to be a little flimsy holder, and that's what we're going to get next year in 2024 from Warner Brothers. That's just my thoughts. Again, it would be wonderful if they did like a big box set release with individual slip covers and artwork. But I think the main thing, guys, is we're going to get all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies on 4K, and they're going to look great in 4K, and I cannot wait to see those movies. But yeah, I think the ship has sailed on Scream Factory. I do not think that they are doing Nightmare on Elm Street at all. Again, I could be wrong, could be completely off base, but I don't think they're doing it at all. All right, so let's get into some of the stuff that I want to see from Scream Factory. And so some of these, most of these are re-releases, you know, but one of these is new to Scream Factory that I want to talk about. But I really want Death Becomes Her on 4K. I think that this is a super underrated Robert Zemeckis film, and I think that this movie will look absolutely stunning in 4K, and I want to see it. This Blu-ray looks pretty good, but I want to see this movie in 4K. I think it will look excellent. I love this movie. If you haven't seen it, Goldie Hawn, Meryl Streep, Bruce Willis. Like, it's such a great, like, dark comedy, kind of like horror comedy from Robert Zemeckis. Such a great movie. I think it will look great in 4K. I want to see it. Obviously, Sleepaway Camp. Now, I think the perfect release for the Sleepaway Camp trilogy, I want all three on 4K, would have been in July, would have been in August. It had that summer camp time period. So maybe they'll end up doing this in 2024 in the summer. I don't know what they're waiting for, though. These would sell great, especially since the Blu-rays are so expensive and out of print. And you can't get them. You can only get this first one. But I want this. Hopefully they do it in October, though. Hopefully that's the big announcement. It's a Sleepaway Camp box set, individual slipcovers. Hopefully they do it like Halloween. Like, that would be awesome. And the hard box cases, I think that would definitely sell. It would be cool if they did new special features. I doubt that they will, but I think that all three of these movies will look great in 4K. I love the first Sleepaway Camp, and I love the second one so much. It kind of breaks my heart that I don't have the second one in my collection because it is so expensive right now, and I'm not willing to shell out the money to get it because I know they're going to do it in 4K, so I'm just waiting for them to do it in 4K. And the third one I've never seen, so I'd be excited to watch that one in 4K as well. But these movies will look great in 4K. Like Friday the 13th, I thought looked good in 4K, so the summer camp. I'm excited for The Burning in 4K as well because I think that summer camp aesthetic with the trees and the lake and stuff just looks great in 4K. So I think these movies will look good in 4K as well. I want John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness so bad. This movie will look so good on 4K. Like, it has those like practical effects, not as much, but it's up there with like The Thing, in my opinion. There's some great scenes of practical effects and monsters in this movie, and I think that just visually this movie will look great in 4K. So I want this one in 4K really bad. I think it's probably going to be the last one they do of John Carpenter, but I see it happening. Like, if they did Prince of Darkness, I don't see why they wouldn't do In the Mouth of Madness. I think they'll probably do Big Trouble in Little China first, though. Lastly, this is a new title that would be a first-time release from the Scream Factory collection. I don't know. This was a Miramax movie, and I think that Paramount has the rights now, so I don't know if this is something that could happen or not. And it also says on this Blu-ray Lionsgate, so you got Miramax, Lionsgate, Paramount's, all their hands are in this movie. So I don't know how Scream Factory gets the rights for this, but I want a collector's edition 4K with new artwork and posters and just the whole thing, new special features with the actors and all that stuff coming back to talk about this movie. I want a 4K release of The Faculty from Scream Factory. And I would settle for Vinegar Syndrome doing this, to be honest, but this is one of my favorite 90s horror films. If not my favorite, it might be my favorite horror film of the 90s. Well, Candyman's probably my favorite, but this one would probably be my second favorite. I like this better than Scream. I like this better than Urban Legend. All of those 90s horror films that came out post-Scream, this is my favorite of that era. The Faculty is a banger. It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but it also has that slasher, whodunit mystery element as well. And it would look phenomenal on 4K. We need this movie on 4K. And I think that Scream Factory is the one that do it. Just think of that. The Faculty announced from Scream Factory, brand new artwork in 4K. It would be phenomenal. So I would definitely be here for that. But that's the video, guys. Just wanted to, sometimes I just like to talk to you guys about stuff. So we talked about Scream Factory and the 4K upgrades. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Appreciate you guys watching. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. Follow me on my social media accounts down below in the description. And we'll see you next time.